Hello, and welcome back to Over the Next Hill Fitness Podcast. I'm Carla Coffey, your coach and host for the program. I just want to start out and thank everybody for sharing, rating, reviewing the podcast. Please keep doing that. It really is helping me to jump up in the charts a little bit. I did want to shout out to Cheryl Davenport and thank her for buying me a cup of coffee. You can be like Cheryl. Go to the show notes. There's a little thing down there you can click on and buy me a cup of coffee. You can, I think, spend like $1. You can spend $5, whatever you're looking to do to support my coffee habit and support the show that way. So I really appreciate that. If you need a coach, I can be that person. So yeah, if you need a running coach, a fitness coach, if you're local to Madison, Wisconsin, I do coach in person. I also have virtual coaching, obviously, if you're not here locally. So yeah, hit me up, and there's a little button in the show notes there where you can comment as well. So please do that. Today we're going to be talking to Sarah Modlin. Fun story. You guys are going to love her, especially if you're on YouTube. She's so stinking adorable. So yeah, I really enjoyed having Sarah on the show, and you're going to love her story. So let's dive right in. Welcome back to the show, Sarah. It's so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And I say back to the show because, as you and I know, we had some technical difficulties, and this is take 2.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
it happens to everyone.
It does happen. So let's start with how you got started running.
Let's see. In 2018, I was at my heaviest, about 260 pounds. Slowly but surely, started losing weight. I changed my diet, exercise, went to the gym, all that jazz. Late December 2018, I started kind of looking around at the people on treadmills at the gym and thinking, I haven't tried to run in well over a decade, maybe 15 years, so I gave it a shot. I wanted to run for 5 minutes at, 4 miles an hour, and I failed miserably. I did not last 30 seconds. So right then I was thinking, okay, I want to make it at least 1 mile. I don't care how long it takes me. I just want to run 1 mile. I don't care how slow I am, and I don't care if other people look at me and everything. So I slowly made my way up to 1 mile, and that took me about 2 months to make it, but I made it, and I loved reaching that first goal, and I decided to, okay, let's see if I can go a little faster, a little longer. And eventually I reached other major milestones like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, a 5K. You get the gist,
Nice. So when did you run your first race, and what was the distance?
My first official race was, Philadelphia distance run in 2021. Since I started more long distance running in 2019, 2020, obviously all races were canceled.
Right.
So official timed, bib and everything was that half marathon in Philadelphia. And I absolutely loved it. It was so great to have, thousands of people cheering you on and running with my new best friends. Comparing that to running by myself versus with people, I definitely love running with people.
Yeah, especially after having gone through COVID, that recently. So, and having not had a race. So your first one was you didn't even do a 5K first, you did a half marathon. So,
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, do you live in Philadelphia?
No, I don't. I was in Philadelphia during grad school during the COVID years, so that was obviously a little annoying, a little more, and some pros, some cons, but those were my COVID years there.
Okay. So how many half marathons have you done since that one?
Ooh. I've done 25.
Wow. Holy moly. And then now have you gone back and done some 5Ks just for fun, or you just half and
some
up?
5Ks, 5 milers,
Oh,
10
good.
milers, you know.
Do you have a total of how many races you've run altogether?
I'm sure I
Close?
do. I don't have it at the top of my head,
Okay.
but if I had to guess, at least 100 by now, like
All right.
5Ks to marathons.
Wow. Wow. And that's not that many years.
I just fell in love with running, and I get a part of what I do almost every day is just like look up races, kind of like look cool races around the country and like near me, and thinking, ooh, can I fly out there for this half marathon? Can I not? You know?
Yeah, very cool. Now, have you done further distances than a half?
Yeah, I've done. I'm at a point where I'm just forgetting these numbers now, but I have done 23 marathons.
Wow. So you're on the states list, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah. So is it 23 states or are some of them
So
the
I've
duplicate?
done 22 states. The extra one was the Berlin Marathon a little over a month ago.
Wow. So you even got one of the majors in there.
Mm-hmm.
What other majors have you done?
Just Chicago. That was 2022.
Okay. Man, they're hard to get into, so congrats.
I did Chicago for charity. And another reason why I did Chicago was because my parents went to Northwestern University for, school, and this was also their homecoming weekend. So they wanted to do, see me run and
Oh,
go to their homecoming. The other major, I've tried to get into the other majors, and of course, since it's hard, haven't gotten into them, but fingers crossed it'll happen one day.
yeah. Yeah, I'm on the list for New York and Chicago next year again. So one of these days.
All right.
But yeah, and I think if I could get well, I'm about as old as I want to be, but that's I got a little faster at one point in there. I was able to do Boston back in 2017, but now I have to pick up some more speed again just because I slowed down, right? Because I thought, oh, I don't need to go fast again. I went, oh, wait a minute, now there's other majors I want to do. So yeah, so I'm just on the sign up, for hope. Just hoping I get in now, not to have to go fast. So what
I'm
does your
thinking,
family? Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was thinking like for Boston, I would have to be at least 60 years old with my current PR just to get
Yeah.
in. So the aging thing will happen slowly but surely. So that's a possibility.
Yeah. I ran a qualifying time in June, but it wasn't a qualifying race. So, and I was like
Oh.
just fast enough, like exactly. So with them having, usually got to be 10 minutes faster.
Yeah.
But next year I cross over another age threshold. So if I can maintain that, I might be able to slip in there. So we'll see how
All
that
right.
goes.
You got
So
this.
yeah, positive thinking. So
Mhm.
what does your family think about like all the weight loss and all these goals that you're pursuing now?
My mom says I'm an inspiration to her. So she just got back into running. She told me she has been able to run about 2.5 miles at a 13-minute pace, and nothing but support there. I am not, I can never, I'll never criticize anyone in their pace or anything like
Yeah.
that. Let's see. And additionally, we all started doing the Cleveland Turkey Trot. That's where we live, Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Um, as a family, since I started this running thing, our first one was in 2021. That was when it like came back, after COVID.
Sure.
So, and then we've been doing it ever since then. We'll be doing it in a couple weeks, since Thanksgiving is in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, if like my family comes out to see a race, then they're nice enough to cover it. So I love that support too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the last time we recorded, you were headed to Kansas and you have run that marathon since, correct?
Yep, that was last week.
Last week. Okay, so tell the audience about this race because I found it so incredible the first time around, and that's the only thing I remember of our whole conversation was Kansas. So tell the audience about it. It was so cool.
Let's see. So it's pronounced Salina, Kansas.
Yeah.
The locals corrected me when I was saying Salina. It's
Okay.
Salina.
Okay.
Um, they have a ton of sponsors where registration is only $5. I was lucky enough to get a free registration when I registered on New Year's Eve or day. I don't remember one of those days. Unfortunately, because Kansas was in a drought, there was a lot of rain on race day,
Oh,
but I flew out there,
okay.
paid for everything. I'm not going to pass this up. Me and a bunch of other runners, you know, we
Still
made
there.
it.
Good.
That
They
was the
didn't.
first time I ran a race in the rain, and I knew it was going to happen to me sooner or later, and
Yeah.
it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. My feet felt like cinder blocks, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
the volunteers were amazing. Of course, they got drenched too, but they were amazing that they stuck it out to cheer
Yeah.
us on and give us fluids and whatnot. And surprisingly, we had a decent amount of locals come out also getting drenched too. I would like to go back. It was when it's not raining at least,
Yeah.
and let's see like if I feel faster or not.
Yeah. So I was going to ask that did they cancel? But they didn't cancel. Just a lot of people chose not to run.
Yeah, I remember like the day of and the day before on there's a Facebook group. A
Hmm.
lot of people were asking, how do I defer for next year? How do I virtual make this a virtual run for me? And the race director, super proactive, super nice, just gave out the email address where runners can email making the official request.
Hmm.
And some people later said, I kind of wish I ran it. I have a lot of FOMO and a fear of missing out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So this one was very memorable in the fact that first time I got drenched.
So now having done a wet race, what would you recommend to others who have maybe not done that yet?
Ooh, I had a trash bag. You don't need a fancy rain poncho. I just got one of those black hefty trash bags to
Yeah.
kind of keep myself relatively dry.
Hmm.
And within the first mile, it got pretty hot underneath, so I just like got rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's what
then
I do. I usually pack one if it looks like it's going to rain, and
mhm,
that's what I do. And usually after the first mile, you either number one don't care that you're getting wet, or you're so hot you have to take it off, and
yeah.
then the water feels great, and it's like whatever.
And then this is important. I'm glad I thought about this. Put your phone in a Ziploc bag.
Oh yeah,
You don't want your phone to die or anything like that.
yeah,
Fortunately, my Garmin, I guess, is waterproof. I had no issues with it.
yeah, yeah.
So Strava recorded the run.
Good. Yeah, yeah. Because for you, if it's not on Strava, it doesn't count, right? I don't do Strava, so. But mine is if it doesn't pop up on Garmin and show that I did it, I'm like, oh man, because I've had my watch where I forget to charge it and it dies. And I'm like, no, I promise I ran.
Oh, and then wear a hat, no cap. It keeps the rain out of your eyes. So
Yeah,
glad
smart.
I have a couple of hats. I just kind of rotate through. So
Hmm.
having that hat really helped me with visibility.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the things: trash bag, baggie for the phone, and hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, so no chafing. You had no chafing.
Surprisingly not. I'm not
Oh,
sure how, but I'm not complaining about that.
that's great. And even though your feet were wet, no blisters.
I'm surprised I had one small blister on one of my toes.
Okay.
I've dealt with blisters before.
Sure.
They
Yeah.
suck, but
Yeah, if you're a marathoner and you have kept all of your toenails up to this point, kudos to you, because I've lost, I think, all of mine at least once. So,
ooh.
yeah, it happens.
I've been fortunate enough. I keep my toenails relatively, short and
Yeah,
cut.
yeah,
The worst things I have are blisters, and I
yeah.
do pop them, but I do like wrap them up so they
Hmm.
don't get like infected or anything like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw on a website about using a sterile needle with a piece of string, and you leave that string in there, and that
Oh.
keeps it draining. Because you
Oh.
want to keep the skin, right, so that
Yeah.
it covers it, but then it won't refill because it's draining because of the string, and then it heals quicker, I guess. I don't know. Never tried it, but
Me
yeah,
neither. I use the
yeah,
sterile needle
hmm
and get a Band-Aid, some kind of wrap. So
yeah.
far, it's been working.
Good. Good. Yeah. I now that I wear those Injini toe socks, I have no issues with my toes. And of course, in the beginning, when you don't know to wear larger shoes, that's when I lost most of my toenails. Was in the beginning before somebody said, "Oh, you got to buy a bigger shoe." And once I did that, and now I got the toe socks, I don't usually have blisters. Nothing. It works great for me. So we live and we learn as we run further.
Yeah.
We get smarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's coming next now that we've gotten through Kansas?
Next week is the Every Woman's Marathon in Savannah, Georgia.
Hmm.
I believe the Rock and Roll Race Series initially had a half marathon and marathon there, so I think this is the same route. I didn't run that Rock and Roll Race Series, but for next week, it's the inaugural Every Woman's Marathon, so I'm excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, one of my athletes, Lisa Cochran, will be running there. So I have to try to put you two in contact. Maybe you can see each other and send me a double selfie. That'd be awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
I actually so last week in Salina, I did meet another woman running the Every Woman's Marathon. So I do plan to at least see her and meet up with her. So I'm surprised. I'm like how popular this was because I occasionally have met other people in the months leading towards next week. Oh, I've heard about it. Oh, I'm signing up for it. I signed up for it. So I'm excited about the turnout and looking at the weather. It looks like it's going to be beautiful
Hmm.
in Savannah, Georgia. I've heard from, other people in the past that the weather can be hit or miss. It could be either rainy, extremely humid, extremely hot. Looking at it now, it looks like it's going to be perfect. So I'm just going to pray that nothing bad happens.
Yeah, very cool. I wish I had heard of it sooner because I would have loved to have been there. I'm in a Facebook group that you probably don't qualify for. It's called Old Ladies Running. I qualify for that. And we're talking about getting together and meeting in person at a race. And I think I'm going to suggest that one for next year, that we all try to go to that one because it's for women anyway. So if all of us old ladies can go there and make a presence, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So I know that, you young girls will be leaving us in the dust, but maybe that's all right. As long as we're
I'm
all
not
there, then
fast. I'm not leaving
solidarity.
anyone in the dust.
So it's just all about solidarity, right?
Hmm.
All right. So that means you ran a race last week, and then this one is next week. So 2 weeks apart for your marathons.
And then I have Space Coast in Florida, 15 days, so it's a Sunday. And then 2 weeks after that, Rocket City in Huntsville, Alabama.
So
Yeah,
every
the
two
last
weeks you
few ones have been
just
like 2 weeks apart.
wow. So you get up to the first one, you run it, and then you rest for 2 weeks, or will you do some and then run another one and rest for 2 weeks? Tell me your strategy.
Do my running, rest for several days. I will do cross training,
Okay.
some weights. I like the Stairmaster. I like the row machine. I will try to do a shakeout jog, usually like Wednesday or something, and see how I feel. Let's see. On the weekend, I'll do like a longer run, about 10 miles, and see how I feel about that. And the next race, I just take my time, let my body
Do its
kind of
thing.
say, "Go, we can go a little faster. Let's slow down a bit."
Okay. Wow. You sounds like you got this all figured out. That's awesome. So see, listeners, we can do hard things, right?
Yeah.
So
I just go out and have fun. I enjoy it. It will go even when I feel like I'm dying. At the end of the day, it will be over. It'll be done, and I just have fun with it. It'll go by fast.
So, what do your friends and family think about that aspect of you not just training for a marathon, but a marathon 2 weeks, a marathon 2 weeks? What do they think of that? That's got
They
to be
think I'm
just
crazy. I take that as a compliment.
yes. I
Like,
agree.
who was I talking to? One of my friends yesterday was trying to do 2 marathons in a month, and he's already dying and thinking, how on earth are you able to do this? And I just tell him I just take my time. I use up the aid stations each time. I just kind of go with the flow. He is a more serious runner.
Yeah.
He is Boston qualifying. He's, I think, 10 minutes off from Olympic qualifying if he
Wow.
wants to go that far. And
Different leagues than you and I, clearly.
wait, he's up here. I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
He's a little more serious, but he does want to try to do 2 marathons in 1 month, and I told him just relax for both of them. You can add 20 minutes, 30 minutes to your time.
Yeah, you'll be
Not
fine.
the end of the world.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I read in one of the running groups on Facebook, and somebody asked, how many marathons can I do in a year or something like that? And my comment was, as many as you can afford. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that's kind of the bottom line, is how many can I afford to do this year? You know, how many am I willing to spend for?
Oh yeah.
So,
There is a group called Marathon Maniacs, and the whole spiel is running a ton of marathons in a short amount of time. And there is a level where you can hypothetically run 52 marathons in 1 year or more. You can go for that if he wants to.
yeah, wow. What's that one called? I'm clearly not in that one.
It's Marathon Maniacs.
I mean, where you do 52, is there a special level that's called?
I think they do have their level names. I don't remember what they're called, but I think it's like level 10.
Wow. Because I know there's one that's like the Insane Asylum or something, and they do, what is that? They do a marathon and a half or something.
Oh, double agent. I'm also a double agent.
You are, okay. So for doing marathon and a half in the same state, is that what that is?
Let's see. It's just within close time period.
Okay.
I'm thinking one of the level qualifications for Marathon Maniacs is how do I describe it? Like, we'll take states into consideration versus running in the same state in a short amount of time. I'm thinking like one of them is like you can run 9 marathons in 9 different states, countries, etc. And that's one level qualification. Versus if you do 9 marathons in the same state, you don't get that same level. Gotcha. I didn't memorize the levels on top of my head.
Yeah, because I'm a member and clearly I don't know. So it's like, I don't know what they are. I'm clearly not in most of them, but that's okay too. I think it was you had to do like 3 in a month or something to join. I forget what the first thing, just to join the group.
2 within 16 days or 3 within 90 days.
Okay. I think that's the one I did, was 3 and 90. Yeah. And some of it's just, that's just how it turned out, right? So how I got into doing back-to-back was I was an over-the-road truck driver at the time, and there was a marathon coming up, and I was trying to do my states. And then the next place I was driving to had a marathon the next weekend, and I went, oh, well, I guess I'll do this one too, because I need this state too. And then there was so I did 3 in like 9 days, and just because of where I was driving, and it worked out perfect. And somebody was like, I don't think people really do that. And I said, oh, I think actually a lot of people really do that. It just happens, you know. The body can do it, so you just do it.
I'm thinking sometimes like the stars align and you have opportunities to knock 2-3 states out of the way, or no, and you can't pass that up. I'm thinking back in June, I did 3 marathons: Fargo, North Dakota, Governor's Cup in Helena, Montana, Anchorage, Alaska. Let's see. I did those 3 because they're all major anniversary years, and I was thinking I can't pass this up whatsoever. So I made North Dakota, Montana a little week-long vacation since the states are right next to each other. Then 2 weeks later, me and my family flew out to Alaska for another vacation.
Very cool.
A
Yeah.
lot of people will do, and then like for Fargo, North Dakota, Governor's Cup, Montana, I met 5 other people who had that same plan as me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you do quite a bit of research and put a lot of thought into your marathons. Mine is just basically convenience of travel, which they continue to change my flight to Louisiana in January. It has moved all over. It was a
Ooh.
direct flight, and now it's not. And they've changed the time like 3 times already. And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't even got a room yet because who knows if it might get canceled altogether. I might just sleep in a car when I get there. I haven't even, it's just, so travel for me has not been as nice as for you. So good for you.
No, I mean I've had my fair share of issues with traveling. I'm thinking, Houston Marathon back in January. So what, 10 months ago? Yeah, 10 months ago. I was barely able to get out because it would like snow, unfortunately. So I was able to get to my connecting flight in Charlotte, North Carolina, but some of my other friends got stuck in Houston. And then while I was in Charlotte, my connecting flight back home got canceled. So I was at the airport for an additional like 6 hours waiting for another one. Flights have been very iffy. That's the worst part of like these marathons is the flights. It never goes my way.
Yeah, same. Mine have been like that too recently. And I don't mind it coming home, except then sometimes I have to call a day off, right? Because I was hoping to get home for work, and I've been like I was stuck when I did Jekyll Island, Georgia. I was stuck in Jacksonville longer, and I had to like call my boss and go, "Oh, yeah, I'm not going to be there for work." And so I'm okay with that, but don't make me late to where I can't do my big bib pickup.
Yeah.
Which is now happening in Utah. They're getting me in so late now. I was supposed to have a direct flight and they put a stop in. And so now I'm not going to make it. But thankfully they have one in the morning, which means I got to get up earlier because it's a point to point. So you got to catch that bus up to the start, and I'm just like, just stop already. Cause they've messed up my Louisiana and now they've messed up my Utah. And I'm like, would you just please stop with all the madness? Stop the madness. Let me off. But yeah, so doggone flights. But we keep persevering.
This is one of the reasons why I started driving longer distances. They're boring, but I'm reliable.
Yes. We are more in control, right? And I like that too. Yeah.
I'm thinking I remember back for March for Jackson, Mississippi, all the flights were already ridiculously expensive, close to $800, despite me looking months in advance. Unfortunately, the drive from my place to Jackson was a 2-day trip. It was 12 hours, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet and I did it. That would have been, I feel like flying would have been more of a hassle for some reason. Don't know why. I just did it, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I made it in one piece, no accidents, and made it to the expo like with plenty of time. No.
Yeah, not making that rush. So tell me about your fueling now for these 2 weeks. How is it? What is your strategy for that since you have 2 weeks before the marathons?
Hydrate with water, obviously. Let's see. Carbs and protein are what I focus on. Protein, you need to build up your muscles again, and carbs, you need to carbo load. I don't do anything crazy specific. I just focus on consuming that much food so that I won't crash and burn for around mile 20, which hasn't happened yet, surprisingly. Good. I mean, I get tired, but I haven't crashed and burned yet.
Good. So do you do anything different leading up to each one, or do you just have your normal diet and then you carbo load the day before?
I just do my normal diet when I don't have a marathon coming up, as in like I have over a month. I will I'll focus on other things like vegetables and junk food and other
Okay.
other normal foods.
Do you have a go-to breakfast that you always eat the day of?
I love oatmeal and bananas. Perfect.
Sticks with you. Yeah, good.
Nothing
Okay.
special. I don't. It's something I've been playing around with, like, pre-race foods. So there was a while where I didn't eat anything. Kind of didn't feel that good in the beginning of the race.
Mm.
Let's see. Other times I'll just drink coffee. Also, kind of had to use the bathroom a lot. But I
Yeah.
eventually worked my way to, like, let's just have some banana slices and some oatmeal. How
And
about
that
you?
started working. Oh,
Anything?
I eat a bagel and coffee.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, with peanut butter usually.
Hmm.
So what was the transition like after you did your first half to do a first marathon? What made you say, "Hey, I want to do that"? And what was your first marathon?
So Philadelphia in 2021 was my first marathon.
Okay.
So I know, like, if again, the official half was September 2021. So, I mean, months prior when the registration for the marathon opened up, I signed up. And of course, prior to that, I was already running 15 miles for fun.
Okay.
So, I mean, for that first in person half marathon, I already knew I could do it because I was
Right.
already, like, training for the marathon to begin with. And then, like, by running like 15 miles, 16 miles for fun, I was thinking to myself, I could do a marathon. It's not that far off. That's a complete lie. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between the first 13.1 miles and the second.
There
But at the
absolutely
time, I
is.
was thinking to myself, I can get up to a marathon distance. So when registration opened up, I was thinking, I signed up on day one, and the rest is history.
So now, with those being your first, are those your favorites, or do you have others that are your favorites?
This is tough. I'm getting to a point where I do so many. They're all different and unique. I think Philadelphia will always be at least tied for first. One of my other favorites is the Houston Marathon. I was injured during that one, so I had to power walk,
Mm.
unfortunately, most of the time. But I still loved it. The crowds were amazing. The weather was perfect. It was flat as a pancake. I definitely want to redo that one when I'm not injured.
And what made it your favorite? Was it the crowds or the flatness?
Definitely the crowds.
Okay.
There were very few dead spots. I didn't feel alone and isolated. And then, of course, Philadelphia was, you can't forget, you're the first one. I loved
Sure.
it.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you have any other than the one that you finished in the rain recently that you're like, oh, I never want to run there again?
Honolulu.
Really? Why?
It was hot. It was
Yeah.
80 degrees. Even though we started at 5 a.m.,
Hmm.
I was already sweating like crazy around mile one. Two, it's very touristy. It's like there's no time limit. So a lot of people will come in and just walk it. They're not, you don't have to be a real runner, a real racer, or anything like that. But a lot, like when you have walkers just kind of doing whatever they want to do, they will start in the front, front corrals.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
trying to like run, jog it or something. And it was very annoying to try and
Bob and weave.
get around people that are just walking the entire time. But that was Honolulu. Oh, and there's like zero shade along the course.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I want to run there ever again. I mean, I might do a half marathon if I vacation out there, if things work out, but I don't think if I do another round of the States, I think I just want to get home, like Hawaii, one of the other ones at least out of the way. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
there's I know there's at least two more other ones. I don't know at the top of my head what they were, but Honolulu is not definitely not again.
Okay. Good to know.
Did you do
Noted.
Hawaii?
I did Maui. Yeah. Yeah.
Maui, that's what I was thinking of. I heard good things about that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the same with you. It got hot really quick. First time I'd ever started in the dark, and I was trying to do it as a Boston qualifier,
Mm.
and it's super hilly, so
Mm.
I did not make it at that point. And I don't know, but a group of us, probably minimum 20 of us, were running down here, and we look up here, and there's other runners up there. So somehow we were running through like a neighborhood, and we were supposed to be up here. So then we ran and we finally got back with the group. So I don't know how we all, I mean, because it wasn't just one, or there was a huge group of us that may have
Huh.
missed a turn somewhere. And
Ooh.
it was light at this point. But we got back on track, and my mileage still said the same. So I think somehow we took the low road and they took the high road, and we met together. So it worked out okay. But yeah, we got a little off track. But yeah, it was nice because we run by the water, and you could, see the waves, and there was a nice breeze. So even though it was hot, it was, I don't mind heat, but yeah, it got hot though. When that sun came up, people were like,
Ooh.
it was, but
That's one of
yeah.
my fears in general is getting off course.
Yes. Yeah.
Hasn't happened yet, but who knows? There could be poor signage or something, and I go one way, everyone of the, but that at least you weren't alone. There were
Yes. Yeah.
other people that also made the same mistake, and y'all
Yeah,
made it
we
up
figured it
together.
out. We figured it out, but it was funny because we're like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. Whatever. So, all right. So you've got when's your last race date?
This year will be Rocket City in Huntsville, Alabama, and that's
Okay.
December 15th. That one is a Sunday.
Okay. And then do you have anything set up for 2025 already?
Yes, I'll be going to Bermuda in mid-January, like that small island, and the marathon is literally running across the island.
Wow.
I'm assuming it'll be hot, but just kind of want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm signed up for Oklahoma City at
Okay.
the end of April. What else am I doing? Oh, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. They're celebrating 50 years. That's why I
Wow.
signed up. And then the week after that, I'm doing the Marine Corps, also 50th anniversary.
Where is that one?
Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
My mom's side are filled with military people, and they live near Virginia, Arlington. So I already know I have a couple people come out to see me for that one. And then registration hasn't opened up yet, but I want to do Wineglass in New York City, New York.
I want to do that one so bad.
Let's see. There's Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I heard that's beautiful.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't have many planned for next year. I don't know. I could end up doing like 3 more.
Okay. Have you run in Oregon yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, Crater Lake. Do
Crater-
Crater Lake, and yes, it's a gorgeous run. It's hilly, but it is just gorgeous. That's
Okay.
probably one of my favorites for sites.
I like
Very-
gorgeous courses.
Yeah.
It takes my mind off like how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And you definitely will be able to pick up a running buddy, likely somebody that's maybe struggling a little bit, up the hills, and have a buddy to run with. That's what I did. And so it kind of keeps your mind off of it.
That's nice.
I saw someone struggling, I'm like, come on, because I don't mind heat and I don't mind hills. So,
All right.
I mean, I'm not good on them, but I don't mind them. I wouldn't say I was great, but I don't care. I just like to run. So.
I'm thinking I have family in Portland, Oregon, and the past year, 2 years, they've been asking me, when are you coming to Portland? Do the marathon. It hasn't worked out for me yet because it's the beginning of October and everyone wants to do a race that same weekend of Portland. So I could do it potentially next year, but I also want to I want to do more research into Critter Lake. That sounds
Because you
wonderful.
fly into Portland and drive from there. So
Oh, how far is it from Portland?
I don't remember. I don't think it's much more than an hour if it's an hour. And you probably, there was a lodge that you could actually stay there.
Ooh.
We didn't, but you probably could. And yeah, so set your
Ooh, I like
vacation
that.
hopes. Yeah, and hopefully there won't be fires, because when we went, you could still smell the smoke because there had been fires.
Yeah.
And there might have been some off in the distance, but so there were some spots that were a little bit cloudy and it was smoky. But I will tell you this: the start, it's really cold at the start,
Of
and
course.
you're kind of standing there waiting for it to start, and because you're up at elevation, it's just kind of cold up there. So I did not know that, and we were all huddled. You're huddled with strangers, and you're wrapping bags around each other, just trying to stay warm. So you'll have some friends.
Oh,
You'll have friends right away. But yeah, so wear something warm and that you can discard. So that would be my recommendation, to do that, and it is just gorgeous. And then afterwards, we went around and took tons of pictures, and yeah, it was beautiful.
oh,
Yeah,
that sounds good. I'm
yeah.
thinking, what was it? What race was this? I did Rebel White Mountains in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
I was underprepared for the start since it's high in elevation, and I'm so glad I had friendly strangers like let me cuddle with them for warmth.
Yes.
And of course, we had to take the buses up to the start really early on. So of course, we're just standing around trying to like, okay, I'm just ready to just run. And
Yeah.
yeah, those friends. I like meeting strangers.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. We had that happen. I think it was in Idaho. The bus took us up and dropped us off, and then somebody came up in a car with a walkie-talkie, and they go, "Yeah, I found him right here." They had dropped us off at the wrong spot. And so we had to walk down further, which was, at least we were walking downhill and not further up the hill, mountain, I should say. And somebody came by with a pickup, and we jumped in the back of the pickup, and he took us down to the start. But the poor bus driver didn't know,
Oh.
that they dropped us off, and then we saw them, and they were like, "We're so sorry." So things happen. So we
Yeah,
got a little warm up, got a little, we
yeah.
walked a little ways and got picked up, and so it works out. But yeah, you do meet your best friend that day. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
everybody's friends when everybody's struggling together, freezing together. So tell me, what is one thing, oh, you can tell me more than one thing, but one thing that you've learned about yourself through this journey.
Oh, that's a deep question.
It is.
I think I am a lot stronger than I thought I would be in terms of running physically, but also being willing to put myself out there and travel to all these places by myself. I have, I have friends in Morgantown, West Virginia. That's where, I live, and they're nice people and everything. They're so iffy on traveling to these other races, and if I was a lot more like, insecure with myself, I would kind of wait around for them to travel with me. But doing this running, marathoning, trying to do each state, I just learned to trust myself, and you know what, I'll get there in one piece. I can watch out for myself, and I will have fun. And I've met tons of other people throughout these races, and occasionally I've been able to meet up with them for, future races.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it is amazing, first of all, what your body can do when you didn't think it could. Do you feel that now that you know that your body can do that, that more of it is mental?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Because your brain thinks you can't do things. And clearly, now that you know your body can do it, now you just got to get through the mental. That's how for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There are plenty of times when I'm, running by myself, doing a training run where I struggle for like a 5K. That mental, even though like I obviously know that I have run marathons plenty of times before, sometimes that mental struggle is very, very, very real. And I just have to, punch right through that,
Yeah. Yeah. When I get past like mile 17 of a marathon, I'm always imagining the runs that I do around my house, right? So, okay, I have 9 miles left, which I also celebrate because it's single digits, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yep.
in single digits left.
Yeah.
And so I count down at that point. But thinking I only have a 10K left is what I tell myself. You only have a 10K. You can do this. You
Mm-hmm.
only have a 5K. You are coming past the roundabout right now, close to the house. You're almost there. And so just those little mind tricks for me really, really help that. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, thanking everybody I see, all the volunteers, all the policemen, and that keeps the focus off of me, right, of
Mm-hmm.
how bad I feel or how good. But usually, just telling people thank you, and encouraging other runners, that to me is the best mental medicine for me.
I like that. I feel that way too. I just imagine, okay, I am this many miles from my place.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Helps you get through. Are there any other tips or words of encouragement for the listeners? Anything else you want them to know about you, about your future? Anything?
Oh, my general tip is just go out there and have fun with it. Obviously, train, like don't just randomly sign for a marathon and hopefully you can do it. But, trust the training process. I'm assuming most people are doing like 18 weeks of training. I'm assuming.
Hopefully,
Or
yeah.
if you're doing it less, it's still like work your way up, train, and like on race day, it will go by fast, and just have fun. Take your time. Aid stations are there for you, So have small talk if you can with like your runners next to you, and just smiling makes you feel better. Makes me feel better, at least.
Yeah. Which makes me laugh at myself sometimes when I smile, knowing that supposedly if you smile, there's like no pain or something. I don't know. But thinking about how dumb my fake smile looks makes me smile genuinely. So that's the little tricks that get me through the races.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and for coming back. I'm so sorry
Thanks
that
for
our
having
first
me
one kind
again.
of goofed up. Yes, I've enjoyed talking to you, and I'll look forward to hearing about more races as we're now friends on the channels. So you have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please continue to follow, share, and rate the program. If you're needing that coach, reach out to me. There's a button in the show notes that you can contact me directly. Share it with a friend if you think their story needs to be on the podcast. I'd love to hear from them. So thanks again, and have a great day.